Yo, YouTube, what is up? Radar25, along with my co-host, Michael Fuentemania.
What up, Mox?
Guys, we are back again with another takeaway video. It's our 3 takeaways from Friday Night Smackdown from this past Friday. Otis's first show as Mr. Money in the Bank. We're going to get to see he was involved in a lot in the show. He kind of ran through the entire show, Otis.
He did.
It's also the start of the Icy Tournament. We'll get into that Intercontinental Title Tournament. Guys, before we get into the video, I want to remind you guys to drop a like on this video and previous videos. If you're watching, not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you guys aren't missing anything that drops. Also, follow me on social media on Twitter, Instagram. Follow me on Twitch. Follow me on Mixer, where I live stream Call of Duty and other games. That stuff's going to pop out on the screen right now, guys. And without further ado, guys, let's get into the video. Our 3 takeaways from Friday Night Smackdown.
And what you gonna do?
All right, guys. So the show started off with Otis on Miss TV, and it's gonna be takeaway number 1 of the night, and it's gonna be Otis's journey. Basically, he's the journey throughout the show because he's involved with almost the entire show. And he shows up on Miss TV with Miz and Morrison, and he comes out and he tries to sit down, breaks the chair that he's tried to sit down, and basically they're just making fun. They're making fun of him the entire time. How he's like kind of like a goof. How is he in the situation that he's in? How does he have Mandy? He had
a learning disorder growing up and stuff.
Yeah,
so wrestling was the only thing he knew how to do.
They showed pictures of him when he was a kid, so they're trying to give him like a little bit of like backstory, like showing him as a real person and try to give him a little bit of more heart into his character and stuff like that. But it's I thought it was okay. I mean, it's just them more people making fun of Otis. I mean, I don't know. I'm surprised they still went with him as like seriously as Money in the Bank. I think it's kind of odd, and I'm not sure if it's going to work out that well. I think it could end up being a little bit of a waste.
I mean, he's entertaining. He's definitely entertaining. I just think it's he was the only storyline going on SmackDown as the whole lockdown hit, so they're just working with what they can. A lot of guys are missing. Obviously, that's why we have an IC Championship tournament. We'll talk more about that later, but I think he's been the most entertaining the last 2 or 3 months. He's been the only storyline. He's been the only constant. Like, there is no other storyline on SmackDown that makes any sense or that has any like future. There's nothing else. It's the Sonya, it's the Otis, it's Dolph, it's Mandy. That's what it is, and that's basically why they gave him the Money in the Bank. Will he keep it? Will he do Damian Sandow and lose it before he ever cashes it in or whatever? Maybe, but we'll see. But there was funny things ensuing throughout the night. He's definitely entertaining. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He is entertaining. Yeah, you're right about that. But it's just like, as right now, you just can't take him seriously. As Mr. Money in the Bank, then you actually think that he's actually going to cash it in and actually become champion. It's like it's an insane long shot, but we'll see what happens. Now, this whole segment was just trying to set up a tag team match that would eventually happen at the main event. So Miz and Morrison berate him the entire time. They're making fun of him, talking about how is he in the position that he's in. How does he have the title? He luckily won it. It fell into his hands. He doesn't deserve to be Mr. Money in the Bank. And he's trying to do a tag team match. Told him to bring out Tucker. He says Tucker's not here. So he has to find a partner of his choosing. You'll see it play out throughout the night with, him asking, talking to Mandy in the back. Well, he's asking Sheamus first. Yeah, Sheamus shuts him down. He's talking to Mandy. Mandy says, why don't you just ask Braun? Funny because Braun is the champion, and obviously he has missed
and she has like a sneaky little like shitting grin on when she says it. You should ask Braun.
Yeah, you should ask Braun, so a little moment like that. He has asked Braun, and Braun says he'll think about it, right? Also in this feud, now we have set up for next week Mandy Rose and Otis versus Sonya Deville and Dolph Ziggler in the mixed tag match. I felt like this was kind of like just thrown out there. I felt like they didn't like kind of do something in between to build it up a little bit, like a little all 4 in the ring promo type thing. They didn't do that, but it's gonna happen. Sonya cut a promo in the back with Dolph Ziggler. Sonya, I really think she could end up being the face of the women's division just with the work that she's putting in right now.
She's doing a great job.
She cut an awesome promo in the back. She's done a tremendous job. Can't say enough about her, and I really think she has a chance right now to jump off this feud and become like the face of the division.
I think so too, especially with it's only really Bayley and Sasha that are interesting on SmackDown. So
yeah,
if we're being honest, I mean Lacey Evans is good too, but it's good. A lot of depth in the women's division. I like it like a lot.
Yeah. Guys, next thing on the show, and it's going to be takeaway number 2, and it's the beginning of the IC Tournament, Intercontinental Championship Tournament. Now, Sami Zayn obviously not able to compete or not willing to compete and show up on the shows, so they stripped him of the title. It's vacant. They're having a tournament, interesting tournament, because it's pretty star-studded. I mean, it's the way it's setting up is you got Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak who will fight later on in the show. You have Sheamus and Jeff Hardy, which is a feud we saw building, and that they're actually gonna have they're gonna have a match now. Also, you had Elias and King Corbin, which is the weakest of the whole crew. Match we've seen before that we don't want to see again. Yeah. This is the match that happens. We're going to get into right now. But the fourth and final matchup is an interesting one. You have AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura in the first round. So we're excited. That's going to be a next week match. So is the Jeff Hardy and Sheamus match. So it's going to be pretty interesting. I really think it's going to be a final between maybe AJ and Daniel Bryan. Yeah, I feel like that'll be the final.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
And I think it's good because I think it's going to really show. They're really trying to showcase the Intercontinental title because there was at a point where they try to showcase it and then they do for a couple weeks and it kind of just falls back to being like non-existent, not that important.
Like a lot of things on WWE, just they start these pushes and you feel like they're gonna do it and just like, you know, it happens a lot. Like with the women's tag division stuff, it starts and stops a lot. So hopefully this will get it going. And with guys like Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, that's like going back to the old school days of when it was the workers belt with Mr. Perfect, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, guys like that. Like that, they're at that level. So it should excite everybody if they do it right. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, the first matchup was Elias versus King Corbin. We've seen this match before. I'm not super excited about it, but this was the best match they've had together. Sure. You know, it went longer than expected. But surprisingly, Elias gets the win. Now, this is probably because Drew McIntyre will face Baron Corbin on Monday Night Raw. Maybe they're gonna do something with that. So they just want to get Baron Corbin out of the tournament. But surprised to see Elias win. That's a good. I think it's a good thing. And we'll see how it goes. I think he's gonna face AJ Styles next in the next round. I think AJ Styles will beat Shinsuke Nakamura. So we're just going to see that matchup. But hopefully it's the last time they have to fight each other. Baron Corbin and Elias, because we're not super excited about the feud. Remember, Elias hit Baron Corbin in the back while he was climbing the ladder with the guitar. So there was more built into it. But this is the best match they've had. Elias gets to win. He advances in the IC title tournament. The next matchup of the IC title tournament for tonight was Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan, which we'll get into a little bit later because there's another match in between that. But guys, that's the second takeaway. It's the start of the IC tournament. Excited about the tournament. It's pretty star-studded.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Really get better.
Guys, next thing on the show was Naomi versus Dana Brooke. Really fast match. Yeah, it was just kind of just there.
A match.
Yeah, Dana Brooke gets the win. Good to see her getting some wins and actually being, showcased. Different person. I hadn't seen Naomi in a little bit, but she takes the loss. But I thought it was fine. Good to see Dana Brooke out there. Guys, next thing on the show is takeaway number 3 of the night, and it is Charlotte Flair on SmackDown. Charlotte comes out, cuts a promo. She gets interrupted by Bayley and Sasha Banks. They come out, and it's just more of basically right now it's just Bayley talking for Sasha, and Sasha being looking upset about it. So that little tension brewing between them.
And Charlotte kind of points it out hard because she's like the one. Well, I was talking to Sasha. I wanted to let Sasha speak. So it's actually she's doing a good job of being the heater and the just starting the trouble between them. He's instigating the issue. So I did like that part. Yeah, she was instigating the whole time, and then it sets up a match for next week. Champion versus champion, Bayley versus Charlotte Flair next week on SmackDown. But it was Bayley, basically just Bayley kept stepping in when Charlotte would ask Sasha a question, not let Sasha answer. That's been a little bit of a running theme. She hasn't let Sasha answer, and it's kind of just been her in the shadow. And then obviously she'll fight out of the shadow, and that feud will begin eventually. And we've seen that happen. We've seen the seeds being planted for it, so it will eventually happen. But I thought this was fine. It's a little weird that Charlotte Flair is all over the place. She's on every show. Well, Fox invited her. They kept announcing that Fox wanted her there, and wanted her there, yeah, because she's blonde and she's tall and whatever. She's a Flair. Woo! Yeah.
And so we're gonna see. She's gonna be back next week, and she'll have the match against Bayley. But we'll see if maybe that's when they want to start the issue between Bayley and Sasha Banks. At that point, makes the most sense because they don't have anything to do after that. So they don't have anybody. She's feuded with everybody already, so we'll have to see that eventually happen. And yeah, it's basically just Charlotte Flair saying, "Are you really okay being an afterthought and being Bayley's lackey and all that, and not letting?" And then after her saying that, Bayley jumping in because basically Bayley's playing the part that she knows that she needs to cut this off because she knows Sasha's gonna get mad about it, and she doesn't want to have Sasha turn on her. That's basically the vibe that you get from the whole story. So it was fine, not anything super special, but it was what it was.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Guys, next thing on the show was the second matchup in the Icy Title Tournament, Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak. Tremendous match. These guys are so good to each other.
They're so good. They're so good. I mean, this is old school wrestling. You didn't need any high spots. You didn't need any indie, crazy table shots or ladder things. Just in the ring, two guys that know how to work. They work well with each other. They're partners and they're workout partners or whatever. But great match. They had a great match. Was that not the Rumble, the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view?
No,
the Elimination Chamber match. Yeah, that was my favorite match, and I wanted them to feud and to have a decent feud going on. But they actually switched. They became partners, which was okay. But these guys kill it. This is what the IC belt's about. It's always been about the best workers, and the next in line to be champion. And these are always the guys that can go, and these guys are the epitome of the IC belt. So I love the match. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it works out good. I think this would have been cool to be like the final, maybe.
Yeah,
I think having him in the first round because it's like a two, but if it's gonna be AJ and Daniel Bryan, which I think it will be, I think that's the better matchup. Yeah. But we'll see how it goes. It was a tremendous match. Enjoyed it. These two guys work really well together. So Daniel Bryan gets the win here. He advances in the tournament. He will face either Sheamus or Jeff Hardy in in 2 weeks. Yep. So find that out. Guys, next thing on the show was the main event. It was the Miz and Morrison against Otis and a partner of his choosing, which ended up being Braun Strowman. He did accept. So it's just a continuation of takeaway number 1, Otis's journey throughout the show. This was a fun match. We all knew that Otis and Braun Strowman were going to win. Obviously, they did. Braun Strowman hits the power slam on John Morrison, gets the win.
And we saw a double caterpillar, big ass Braun doing that crazy caterpillar thing. That was pretty funny.
So it was a fun match. It's cool to see that. Now it's adding a little bit of a wrinkle to it because obviously he has the Money in the Bank briefcase and Braun is worrisome about that. He's thinking in the back of his mind because at the end they celebrate after the win. Mandy Rose comes out and she's distracting Braun, and it looks like he's going to try to cash in Money in the Bank, but he's just joking because Braun turns around and sees him trying to, and it's just a little fun little thing, but it was what it was. It was nothing special, but we'll probably see that play out a little bit as they bide some time before Backlash, when most likely will be Braun Strowman and The Fiend or Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt again. But that was the end of SmackDown. Nothing super special going on in the show. No. Decent show. A lot of Otis, which is fine. Continuation of his character build, and again, they got to push him to maybe be taken as least as somewhat a viable threat to actually cash in that successfully cash in that title. I mean that contract to win the title. So decent little episode, not too much to write home about.
If we're honest, SmackDown's spinning their tires, or just they don't really have a direction right now. They only have 2 interesting things going on a 2-hour show. A lot of guys are just showing up, and that's it. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll start building out a couple more storylines once it's IC. At least we have the IC tournament going on, which is probably the most exciting thing going on. So we'll see what happens, but let's start getting going here. Let's just make something interesting, SmackDown. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's been months of this.
Yeah. Guys, that's the end of the video. Remember, something to watch this Sunday. Watch the second episode of Undertaker: The Last Ride. Should be a lot of fun there. It's a really tremendous episode 1 was great. So, we're hearing a lot about episode 2 that it's also just as good. Guys, so that's the end of the video. Thank you again for watching. Remember, brother, if it doesn't work for you, brother, do not do the job.
Later, Marks.